who do you consider the biggest fantasy riser since training camp started? Graham, why don't you take this one away to start?
Biggest riser. Man. Biggest riser right now. I'm trying to think. Like, I want to say right now it's probably DeSean Jackson. Like, no Jalen Reagor to start week 1, week 2, maybe even week 3. I saw a report today from Jeff McClain. They're looking at him potentially Reagor not being able to play until week 3, week 4. Jackson has stayed healthy. I have seen and we've heard that he is uncoverable in practice. And they get like just money draws out of the gates, man. They get the Bengals and the Washington football team in week 1. I knew I was going to do that eventually. That's actually the first time I've said that. Washington football team week 1, then they get the Bengals in week 3. Just money draws. I mean, you're going to put them in your flex spot and just count up the points. So I'd probably say D-Jax based on the Reagor injury.
What do you think? I want to just say too, even like pre-Reagor injury, Graham, like 2 months ago, we were talking about DeSean Jackson must draft late round pick.
It was free money. He was going in rounds 12, 13. I mean, it was literally free money. And I mean, even if he only gives us like 1 or 2 ceiling weeks at that point, it's money.
I think I even brought this up to you before the injury, Wolf, where I was like Reagor or DeSean Jackson at cost. And I mean, now the choice is easy. Now it's super easy. You said why pick, which of course, get
them both, right? Exactly.
And that's still the right answer, by the way.
Exactly.
I would go with one of my, no one's super relevant, maybe, but some of my favorites for dynasty leagues. Bryan Edwards has some immediate value, but He was one of my top, I think, 6 wide receivers by my model. A lot of teams had a first-round grade on him, but pushed him down due to injuries. Harrison Bryant was my number 1 tight end by my model. He fell in the draft, but absolutely crushing camp. And Quintez Cephas is another one. On team 40-yard dash is massively overvalued to the point where looking at it might be a negative even for NFL teams. And he's just a stud. Don't worry about his 40-yard dash time. And he might be the number 1 guy in camp this year.
Very interesting names. The 2 I would toss out for running backs particularly, who I didn't really have even in my top 200 that are now inside my top 100, are both Damian Harris and Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, right.
I love both those guys. Weren't really – I obviously knew who they were, but they weren't hugely on the radar. And now it's looking like Harris is going to be the number 1 for the Pats, which comes with some very genuine – you saw with Blunt like a couple of years ago. Look, Eric Blunt had 16 touchdowns and was a double-digit round pick. So
I mean, this isn't the same offense, but yeah.
It's going to be ground and pound, though. I mean, Cam Newton –
Yeah, but it's not going to be, a 12-win team, I don't think. Could it?
Yeah. Could be. I don't know.
Oh, man. How bad do you think Belichick wants to win 12 games, man? How bad do you think he wants to win 12 games with Brady and Tampa?
Oh, I know.
Oh, exactly.
But he lost so many guys beyond Brady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Their defense is shaky. I mean, they have a really good secondary still, but losing Hightower was massive.
Yeah, that was a tough opt-out. I know. I'm a delusional Pats fan. I still think they could get it. I'm impressed with how good – the one thing I will say is the marriage between Belichick and Newton, like everything has been glowing so far.
I read this. I mean, Belichick, he had his whole monologue about how much he's loved Cam last night, about how big of a competitor he is, how quickly he's picked up everything they're throwing on him. What they do week 1 and week 2, I can't wait to see what this offense looks like in terms of who they play, their personnel, all of that, because there are so many mysteries on this team. Edelman's really the only non-mystery, I guess, in terms of.
I think Belichick was more effusive in praise towards Cam Newton than he ever was. Tom Brady. Tom Brady, wins his 6th Super Bowl, and Bill's just like, well, he's a veteran. He still has a lot of work to do. We're
on to New England. We're on to the Bengals. Yep.
Exactly. It's showing Belichick adjusting the style. Maybe he knows he has a guy that needs that ego pumped a little bit here with.
Maybe he just hated Tom.
Yeah, that's the real of it. But yeah, he wants to stick it to Tom too, for sure. So I think the offense is going to move it. At least they're going to try to control it, and that's why I like Damian Harris. If he's that true number one, we'll see if he exits camp that way. But I really like him. And then McKinnon, obviously the receiving upside, if he can just lock down that third down role, which all reports suggest he's en route to doing it. It could be massive there.